about the self. We allow our good through love, beginning from our centers and radiating out into the common good of all. It all starts right here, with each of us, for each of us, in each of us, right here in our centers. From the very basic and mundane to our spiritual connection to God. Our we is you and me, and we're in this wholeness together. Everything is connected and part of the all that is. Everyone, every what, let's do that one later, thank you. Every when, everywhere, every why, and every how. Have you heard me say that before? Yes. But I want to say this. Every when, let's just take a look at one thing, one aspect of those things I just read. Every when. Who knows? How did that musician, many, many, many years ago, know as he was playing his music and channeling his love of God through his music, that later he would touch us? Have we not had that experience? And have that love of God wash over us because of the beauty, and we know, we feel the love that musician was channeling. The same as an artist. We have artists in the room. And so it is every when, touching us with the hand of God, now as the hand of God was touching him or her then. Cool, right? This is not just a time warp in Star Trek. This is real deal. From this macrocosmic view and into our finely great microcosms, everything is connected and nothing is isolated. Today I will mention the physical and the body, the mind and thoughts, emotions, the spiritual body and life, beyond the I to the we. And now I speak of each of these things, I want you to remember each is part of the continuum and not isolated into itself. These are words you're going to hear a lot today. Each is a connected member of the common web, the quantum soup, the divine mind, whatever you want to call it. I will say this. I was at a conference convention in Seattle one time, and there was a woman and she was having trouble. And she said, people said to her, well, pray about it. And she said, well, I don't believe in God. And someone, a wise person, I'm not sure, I didn't know the person, a wise person who it was, said, well, there's an oak tree out in the park. Just go pray to that. Just go sit at the base of that oak tree and pray. And later the woman came back to report that it worked. And she felt so much better. And she didn't exactly hear the tree talk to her, but she felt like she really got it. And she was part of that tree. And that's how it works. We're all part of this divine mind. Each is a facet of the source of all that is, all of it. The micro, and that would be us in this case, affects the macro. Each aspect influences, impacts the others, including the mental, the emotional, the physiological and physical, or the body and the environment, and the spiritual. Also, our health. These are other aspects. Our health, our family or social lives, financial, work or dharma, and spiritual. Some commonalities there. And then what I'd like to bring your attention to is that our thoughts, as we've talked many times, because I'm a thoughts, words, and action, TWA gal, thoughts in the mind affect the emotions, which affect the body. And then, let's face it, when our body doesn't feel right, we don't feel good in our emotions, and then we start thinking stuff, and then we start chasing ourselves around until finally something in us says, stop, and I'm going to break the cycle. And these thoughts, they have impact beyond us to our world. So it's not just within our skin, It's affecting the dog sitting there looking at you, the cat is kind of walking around and not sure what's happening, and so on. It affects our world. But we have the power over our thoughts, words, and actions to affect it with intention. Now, I would like to introduce 3 microcosms within us to illustrate what I call the power centers. And I do have a wonderful slide, the only slide today that Ken Warner is going to put up on the screen for me. But in the meantime, I have a picture of it right here amongst my many papers. And I just want to bring your attention to it. You may have already seen this, but you didn't know exactly what it was. And this was in the Unity magazine, with the one with the beautiful Yana Banzan on it. Okay? And this is another picture of what I'm telling you about today. It's called the Tree of Life. It's also known as the Tree of Knowledge, the Sephirah, and it harkens from the Jewish Kabbalah, later also the Christian Kabbalah. The second one you may recognize are the chakras. That's the middle one, you see. In the Christian Kabbalah, now all of these things are what I call power centers. You see the circles? They all have little circles. Each one has a circle. And the other one is the 12 powers of man. You see the one on the far right? That's Charles Fillmore's. So what I want to say is that each of these centers are correlated to a part of us in our body. That's why you're seeing them in the body illustration. But they also correlate to qualities. For example, in the Tree of Life, my right hip correlates to honor and glory. And in the chakra system, my spleen correlates to judgment. Am I judging myself or another harshly? Am I having a little twinge in my spleen? You see where I'm going with this? Okay. And then Charles Fillmore, 12 Powers of Man, the root of the tongue and the throat near the thyroid gland is the seat of the power. If I'm having a laryngitis, what's happening with me? You see what I'm going with that? Okay, I'm going to leave this up as I continue on. Just for a little while, I'll give you the word, Ken. Now, each of these 3 systems, and I'm sure there are more, but I use these because they complement each other. I like them. They acknowledge the existence of power centers within us. And our takeaway with this is that to understand each center, it correlates to all levels of our mind, body, and spirit. So again, when we say everything's connected and everything affects all levels of us, I just wanted to be able to illustrate to you that you can learn more about this and you can dive much deeper into your healing and loving self-love work. Now remember Hermes Trismegistus. That which is below corresponds to that which is above. And that which is above corresponds to that which is below, to accomplish the miracle of the one thing. So as above, all levels affect and correlate to another. So there's correspondence with my spleen to my right hip and to my throat and all things in between and beyond. There is a continuum of the body in our precious centers, all aspects of us. And this continuum moves from us into the universe. And these centers, we may focus our self-love to each center and beyond. So self-care and self-love. Really, what is the deal with this self-care and self-love thing? Seems like we hear about it all the time, especially in January, am I right? So this is what I have to say. First of all, I'd say the Great Generation. Those of us know who the Great Generation attributed to those who were alive during the Depression and the World War II. Now, my father was a son of this great generation. And you didn't hear them saying, "Oh, you really need to give yourself more self-love," did they? You didn't hear that much, and because they were of their generation, and as we continue to evolve in our lives, and our hearts, the more we learn, and our children, nieces, nephews learn, they're going to be on the leading edge of even more knowledge and more evolution. My father, when he knew he was dying, and he said to me many things. One thing was, this is off the topic, but he said, well, it isn't actually, I wish I would have flossed more. Something simple like that. These are the little things in life. He said to me, I wish my parents had been more enlightened. I wish they would have been more health conscious, smoked less cigarettes, ate less of these fatty foods and things that are very common in the southern part of the Midwest. And he said, and I wish I had been earlier on. So I want you to know that we love our great generation and all the ones that came before us, but we also must love ourselves. So this is why I think, right now, and have been, why we're hearing so much about it. Because we have, many of us, I'm sure maybe you guys haven't, but many of us have sacrificed, denied, rationalized, or sunk into what I call time poverty consciousness. I don't have the time, I'll do it later. Or have we just forgotten the basics? So we wind up unmotivated, tired and or sick, and less able or willing to participate in this amazing world and contribute to our common good. So that's no dang good. We want to be able to do that, don't we? Have fun. If someone said, hey, here's a trip to Disneyland, so no, I'm not motivated. I don't think I can make it. I don't think so. So here we go. As above, so below. The impact of our thoughts, words, and actions, like time, poverty, consciousness, affects the mind and the body. These tired, uninspired thoughts affect our emotions, which again affect the body. You feel this sort of chasing of the tail circle? This is where we're getting out. And guess what else is affected? Our spiritual lives as channelers, directors, and sharers of God's love. Remember self-care beyond the basics, food, water, shelter, and aim high, beyond the basics. Our thriving is an expression of love and manifests at all levels of our being in this physical world. Now, does that ring a bell? Anybody? Okay. Again, thoughts affects emotions, which affects the body, and tired, uninspired thoughts, as well as enthusiastic and energized thoughts. So that's what we want. We want to choose our thoughts, words, and actions well. So let's talk about self-love and self-care basics. These are not exclusive to pampering. Okay, we're not saying, oh, this is just somebody who wants to go to a spa for the week or the day. This is about loving ourselves as God would have us. Consider self-respect and self-awareness. So these are some bare bones. Things like putting on your seatbelt or bathing. You would think these would be easy, no-brainers, like drink enough water, eat healthy food, sleep well and enough, and exercise. Can you identify with that? So I have a confession. All right, sleep. We all know it. We're supposed to sleep enough, have enough sleep. That means go to sleep at the same time every night, get up at the same time every day, so your rhythm is in good flow. Yeah. Well, I sometimes find myself fighting going to sleep. Anybody else? What am I, 9? No, let me finish this chapter. One more paragraph, please. Yet I know I need good sleep. So really, are these so easy, these basics? Why are we doing them better? And what can we do? We can do things like, we can shift our focus from making others' priorities more important than our own. Remember, putting on the oxygen mask first so we can help others. And don't be surprised when the appearance of normal guilt response comes up, because we've suddenly shifted our focus, and those around us don't understand, because we're now doing something different. We're doing something for ourselves. We're not dropping everything to do for them. And what do I say about that? Kick guilt to the curb, or in a more gracious manner, let it go with grace. Let it go, that guilt, with grace. Let it go, let it go. And we honor our boundaries. We explain to our loved ones that we're shifting our focus because we have to put the oxygen mask on first. We need to keep our battery charged so that we can help, and we can do, and we can live our lives and be productive in our own world. The other thing we do is we ask for what we need. And we say something when someone's standing on our toes. Besides, ouch. Or under our breath, ouch, because sometimes we do that, don't we? And sometimes, many times, letting go of something is the first step of self-love. And you know I love letting go. That's one of my favorite things to talk about. The extreme self-care coach, Cheryl Richardson. How many have heard of Cheryl Richardson? Hay House author, we've got a couple here. She suggests to pick one thing. She says, pick one thing and do it for a year. All the others will follow very often. So she said she picked walking. And she said, well, I'm just going to walk more. This is what I'm going to do for my first, I'm going to pick just this. And she says, in that year, she lost weight, got in shape, cleared her mind, and strengthened her relationship with herself, just with this one thing. Now for the not-so-basics. Not-so-basics of self-care and self-love. Do you have a gremlin? Have anyone heard of or read the book, How to Tame Your Gremlin? His name was Rick Carson, who wrote that book. Yours may not be an inner gremlin. Yours might be a hard-driving coach, or a drill instructor, or a vice principal, or a mother superior, or a board queen. We may hound ourselves, hurry ourselves, criticize, compare, cajole, or any other manner that crimps our conduit of love. We don't want to crimp our conduit of love, right? We want it open and flowing. So we want to find ourselves allowing that love to flow. And remember that our inner talk and our inner thoughts influence our emotions, which again, body, thoughts, mind, feelings, it's all one big soup. Go easy. Be kind to yourself. Choose self-love. Did you know that we have let me just say this right up front. The researchers, the disembodied experts say this, that we think 70,000 thoughts a day. 98% of those are repeaters. We actually think the same things again and again. Shower, rinse, repeat. Thinking the same thing every day. Now 80% of those are negative, but they don't have to be. We are changing our thoughts through self-love. And I have to tell you about this experiment I heard about. It's called the chocolate cake experiment. There were two groups. Group one ate the chocolate cake with guilt and negative thoughts like, this is cheating. Group two ate the cake in celebration, happy thoughts, happy celebration. Which do we think is self-loving? Group one registered significantly higher in the stress hormone cortisol. They gained weight and they maintained their higher weight long term. So we want to be like group two. want to strive for a happy nervous system, softer hearts, open and flexible arteries. We're going to celebrate. So there is no cheating. There's just choosing. So forget cheating. This is celebrating. This is life. This is our life. We get to decide. We're the directors. I like to offer this affirmation in this circumstance. I choose to remember this celebration with deep love. I connect this moment, this cake, this day with love, with my community of love. Okay, tying it all together with love. Our self-love directly corresponds to our openness, our receptivity, and acceptance of the love of God, our source. Self-love enables true, pure giving with the highest and best intentions. So when we are self-loving, we are not crimping our conduit, and our conduit is free and it's not all sludgy, like, we don't want. We have a free and open conduit. This is what enables it, our self-love. Your presence here today tells me that you are a spiritual person. We choose the highest and best in our lives and beings. We choose that what we feed ourselves: clean water, clean air, good food, cooked in clean, non-toxic ways and means, good thoughts, good, kind words, good input. I say be choosy with radio, TV, internet, and movies. And good output via our positive thoughts, words, and actions. We surround ourselves with positive, upbeat people. And we engage in activities and endeavors of the highest and best. We moisturize our hands before they crack. We are our best cheerleader, pep squad, and booster club. We give ourselves and others. And we forgive. Remember, forgiving is freeing. And when we're freeing, we have that open conduit. I forgive you, and I ask that you forgive me. We do and are these things for ourselves, with a capital S, ourselves, the big S. The selves that we know and acknowledge with intention that we're connected to all things, and our world and our universe. We're each an individual, a part of, influencing, giving, and receiving from this living wholeness. We are the hand that gives and receives. Yet we are the thumbprint. We are the snow, but we are the snowflake. It's hard to conceive that that each snowflake could be individual and unique, because there's so many. You see, we just saw some, a little snow coming down. How can that possibly be? I mean, there's similarities. There are those that are round, those are angular, small, large, fluffy, and scant. But each is individual, just like us. The world needs us, each of us, our individuality, our unique, happy, healthy, loving selves. Love inspires passion and compassion. What might our common world look like if we all cared for ourselves with love? I'd like to end with this affirmation that I give you. You contact me if you want a copy of it, and I'll see what I can do for you. I acknowledge the path to my every desire is self-love. I understand it is not the selfish, but the self-full that readies me. My self-care and intentions align my actions with my thoughts and words. My self-love is a loving path. I am open to the whispers of divine love. My thoughts, words, and actions reflect my enthusiasm and zeal, and I have more to share with the world. Thank you, God. Let's now prepare for our meditation. Taking a deep breath and allow yourself to sense the love of God surrounding you and filling you from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. We feel God now in our feet. Feel this love, healing, loving energy around our feet as we relax and let go and allow it even more, the loving, healing energy moving and healing in our feet, in our ankles, in our calves, our shins, into our knees. And we recognize and affirm our flexibility as we move forward in life, knowing this healing energy is infilling our knees and moving up our thighs and into our hips, freeing us so that we may move forward in our days with joy, healing and relaxing these hips, and moving over into the base of our spine, settling there in that center, that base chakra, settling there, growing and growing, the healing love of God, this energy palpable, now moving into our lower abdomen, where each cell, each organ, each tissue, all so happy to be doing its work. So happy to be going to work every day for us, our beautiful lower abdomen. And the energy now moves up our spines, into our solar plexus and into our diaphragm, healing and relaxing, and filling us with love. This love energy is moving up our spine, around into our upper abdomen, our heart, our lungs. Feeling it settling there in our heart, allowing this love to grow and grow so that we feel and we have an understanding and our intuition is on fire with the knowledge that this love, this healing love, starts with us, with our allowing God to come into our lives and into our beings. And we share it with the rest of our bodies and the rest of our beings at all levels. Feel it now as it moves into our shoulders and our arms and our hands, settling into our shoulders, knowing that we let go of all those things that do not belong to us. We let go of responsibilities that belong to others, not us. And as we do this, we recognize the relaxation and the healing. We can feel the relaxation like waves of love crashing on the beaches of our shoulder muscles, relaxing and moving now into our necks, into our throats, healing and loving us so that we speak with love every word, every intention, and into the muscles of our face, relaxing our jaws, our foreheads, all around us, and over our scalps, relaxing and healing us, this love, moving all around us, over and around, continual movement, from the tips of our toes to the tops of our heads, and beyond, to the person sitting next to us, until it fills this room and fills this building and moves on over our state, our continent, our world, healing and touching the need. Every need is met. Every part, every piece, every individual is touched by the wholeness of the love of God. Feel this energy extend from us and move around the globe, encircling this entire planet. Before you feel it again, more personally, perhaps in your hands and feet, warm and tingling, feeling it in your stomach, happy, excited, enthusiastic for life and for living. Bring your consciousness back to where you are, where your hands and feet are, and into this room. And so it is. Amen.